Sounds good. Come back and pick it up before you go, Lear said, her voice bright as she summoned several of her own frames, their mechanical limbs whirring softly in response. Will do. Thanks again, Lear, Deeg replied with a grateful nod, adjusting the gear slung over his shoulder. Think nothing of it. Any friend of Ged's is a friend of mine, she said, her smile warm. As Penelope and Lazarus made their way back to the group, Lazarus began directing the frames with an air of authority. I suppose that means we've got some time, Captain, Gareth remarked, glancing at his friend with an expectant look. Indeed. I think I'll take a moment to explore the shops here. Anyone wish to join me? The captain suggested, scanning the lively marketplace bustling with activity. I think a nice Whalon spa is in order for me, Gareth said, running his fingers through his frills, a familiar ritual for him. Pen? The captain asked, turning to her. Think I'm just going to wander for a bit. I'll see you back at the ship, she replied, already feeling the pull of curiosity. Without waiting for an answer, Penelope turned and stepped out of the shop, ducking through the door and leaving the chatter behind. Oh, well, okay, Deeg said, watching her go. Gareth looked at Deeg and shrugged, holding out his arms in resignation. I guess I'll see you back here, Gareth. Enjoy the spa. Of course, Captain. Enjoy your perusing. Gareth called back as they parted ways. Penelope followed Lazarus's directions, weaving through the corridors of the station until she reached one of the lower levels. The polished sheen of the more traveled floors gave way to a more utilitarian atmosphere. This area was dedicated to maintenance and operational systems. Here, the walls buzzed with the sounds of frames performing their duties. As she ventured deeper, Penelope came across a door guarded by a single station officer. The guard's uniform was crisp, but his expression was weary. Who sent you? He began, but his words faltered as he met her gaze. Without waiting for clarification, the door slid open with a mechanical hum. Thanks, Penelope said, stepping through the threshold. Have fun, and just don't spread it around, okay? The guard added, a hint of concern in his voice. Penelope paused, then turned back slightly. I wanted to ask, is this place illegal? Not illegal per se, but definitely taboo. If certain individuals found out, it would get shut down fast, he explained, glancing over his shoulder nervously. Penelope replied, a smirk tugging at her lips as she imagined Gareth's shocked expression at a boxing match. The room was circular, with an arena set into the sandy floor. A tall wall enclosed the pit, which led up to graduated seats where spectators watched intently. About half the seats were filled, the audience eagerly engaged in a match between two frames. Both were similar to the ones Penelope worked with aboard the ship, yet neither was armed. Instead, they possessed small arms that stretched out, searching for weaknesses in their opponent's defense. Penelope's arrival did not go unnoticed. A few curious sensory organs turned toward her as she settled into a seat, needing two to accommodate her size. Eventually, their focus returned to the arena as one frame managed to overpower the other, damaging a leg in the process. The injured bot could not overcome its disadvantage and was soon declared the loser by the arena runner. Several bouts passed, but Penelope found it hard to concentrate. It wasn't that the fights lacked excitement, it was just that she felt restless, alone in a crowd. Pathetic. She began to crack her knuckles, the sounds echoing in the arena as a larger match unfolded below, with two bots grappling fiercely. You? One of the bots slammed its arm down onto what served as its opponent's head. Ashera glared at her from across the arena, her eyes sharp and unyielding. Penelope could picture her face, each crease a testament to her experiences. Ashera had one of those faces that looked older than she was, with eyes that could intimidate even the toughest competitors. Penelope moved to the second digits of her fingers, each crack producing a satisfying sound. The second bot managed to lift an arm underneath the first, attempting to topple it. Alvarez's eyes bore into her, filled with an intensity that made her heart race. "Not me? You?" With milk chocolate eyes. He was older than Ashera by several years, but had retained a youthful spirit despite their challenging profession. His short hair and coarse beard were meticulously maintained, a reflection of his discipline. He was casually sipping some of his mama's homemade ricilla, an illicit but cherished care package that always found its way aboard the ship, defying the regulations that prohibited alcohol. The first bot fell backward, its head smacking into the ground with enough force to crack the casing. Though it still moved, the arena runner called the fight, and the crowd erupted in cheers for the winning bot. At this point, Penelope was just fidgeting with her joints. She'd cracked them all, but they refused to pop again. "Forget it," she muttered under her breath. She stood up, striding purposefully toward the Tinsna who seemed to be overseeing the matches. He was nestled in a small alcove near the arena, announcing the next bout to the eager crowd. A number of curious eyes shifted to her as she approached. "Next up is a returning bot, Zalus. Up against the victor of the previous fight. Place your bets," he called, his voice ringing through the arena. He turned to the human looming over him and tapped a screen embedded in his desk, his tone shifting as he leaned closer. What can I do for you?" "I'd like to fight," Penelope declared, her voice steady and resolute. "Wait, you have a bot? Terran made?" "That would be quite a spectacle," he started, his eyes wide with disbelief. "Not a bot." "I'm fighting," she insisted, her confidence unwavering. "Oh, this is just for bots." "I don't think. I mean, people fighting?" "We don't have anyone who would fight you," he replied, shaking his head in disbelief. "You don't understand. I'll fight the frames," she asserted, determination blazing in her eyes. He almost laughed, a nervous chuckle escaping him. "Fight a frame? Look, your people have a reputation, but these are machines we're talking about. You can't fight a machine. If you get hurt, I can't." Penelope picked up the winning frame from the previous fight, its inert body still warm from battle. "That's not my experience." She crushed its cranium effortlessly, letting it drop to the ground with a dull thud. The Tinsna's eyes widened, the shock evident on his face. "Not 2 days ago, I crushed 7 of these things, and look at your audience." "It would be quite a show," she added, her voice filled with conviction. He hissed as he glanced back at the audience, their attention now fully on the unexpected challenger before him. "You are crazy, and I don't want you to get hurt, so it'll be a single fight. Against the bot that just won. It's worn down, and if you still get hurt, it's on you. I don't think there's anyone in this station who knows how to fix humans, you understand?" "Understood," she replied, her heart racing with anticipation. "Okay, if you need to stop the fight, just get my attention." "Wave your arms or something, make it obvious," he said, clearly still uneasy about the whole situation. She nodded, adrenaline surging through her veins. "I'll take that as a yes." He hissed nervously but tapped the screen on his desk, raising his voice to address the crowd. I see all of you looking, and yes, it is happening. This human has requested to hop in the ring against a bot. They have assured me that they won't come to serious harm. As such, we seem to have quite a spectacle for you all tonight. Zalus will be replaced by the human. What do you all think? Can a flesh and blood creature really compete in melee combat with a machine? Place your bets. He stepped aside and began guiding her to the entrance down into the arena, stopping only when he noticed she wasn't following him. What are you? She looked him straight in the eyes and then turned to the crowd, a spark of mischief dancing in her expression. You said spectacle, right? She replied with a grin. Without waiting for a response, she placed a hand on the short wall and vaulted over, landing gracefully in the pit. The crowd erupted with a mix of excitement and concern as she hit the blue sand. The showrunner quickly slithered back to his desk as Penelope walked up to the frame waiting for her in the pit. Though the fights had involved larger bots, she still stood a few feet taller than her mechanical opponent. It was an unusual design by human standards, 3 legs, 2 in front and 1 in the back, akin to a kangaroo using its tail for balance. However, it wasn't tall like a kangaroo. The legs were attached to a sideways teardrop-shaped body, with 2 arms extending from either side. The rounded side of the teardrop faced forward, resembling a head equipped with various sensors. We've all heard stories, folks, but now we'll see firsthand. This fight is a human versus a modified Beck-22. Begin! The announcer declared, his voice electrifying the atmosphere. Penelope rolled her shoulders to loosen up, adopting a relaxed fighting stance, adrenaline coursing through her. Let's see what you've got, Beck, she said, her voice steady as she prepared for the challenge. Just as she finished her statement, the frame emitted a buzzing noise and lunged forward, initiating the match.